Sorcerer. Do you know what it feels like to close your eyes and decide, completely, finally, that you are done?
The forest had no name, not in any language the galaxy's cartographers cared to record. It was a dead place, a wounded planet called Vareth, 9 that had burned centuries ago in the siege of the outer reaches and never quite recovered. The trees still stood, twisted into shapes that looked like frozen screams, their bark bleached white as bones, their branches reaching upward in silent supplication toward a sun that gave warmth without comfort. No birds called from those branches. No insects moved through the cracked soil beneath. There was only wind, dry and ancient, carrying with it the smell of ash and something else, something metallic, like old blood. Sergeant Dane Calloway had been walking for 6 hours when he found her. He almost missed her entirely. She was curled against the roots of the largest tree he had ever seen, her body folded in on itself the way small creatures fold when they know they are dying and want to do it quietly, without drawing attention. He had his rifle up the moment he registered movement. His thumb found the safety, without thinking. 6 years of combat training made his body act before his mind could, and his mind was screaming one very clear thing. Vael. She was Vael. That much was immediately obvious. The white skin, luminescent even in this dead light. The black suit, seamless, engineered, designed for a body that moved differently than a human body did. The white hair fanned around her face like something out of a dream or a nightmare, depending on who you asked. And the light, the soft, pulsing glow beneath her ribcage, like a small star trying to stay lit inside her chest. That was pure Vael. Living light, they called it. A biological lantern that brightened when they were healthy and dimmed when they were close to death. Hers was barely more than a flicker. Dane kept his rifle raised. The Vael had been at war with the Human Confederation for 11 years. They had taken 3 colony worlds. They had deployed weapons that erased entire populations without leaving a single body. His unit had lost 4 people in the last engagement. Good people, people whose names he still said quietly in the dark before he slept. His finger hovered over the trigger, and the math was simple and brutal, and exactly the kind of math military logic was designed to produce. She opened her eyes. They were silver. Not gray, silver, like mirrors, like something that could see you from the inside out. And they found him immediately, locked onto him with a precision that told him she had known he was there before he even saw her. The Vael were not careless. They were never careless. But even as her eyes found the barrel of his rifle and understood exactly what it meant, she did something that Dane had never seen an enemy do in 6 years of war. She closed them again. Slowly. Deliberately. Not in resignation. Not in the animal terror of a creature that has given up, but in something that looked impossibly like acceptance. Like she had made a decision. Like she was telling him, I know what you are and I know what you will do, and I am choosing not to fight it. Dane stood there for a very long moment. The wind moved through the dead branches above them, and the sound it made was the sound of the galaxy breathing, indifferent to the 2 of them and the 11 years between them, and everything that had been destroyed to bring both of them to this exact dead place on this exact dead morning. He lowered his rifle. He did not decide to do it. It happened the way certain true things happen, not as a choice but as a recognition, a sudden understanding of what was real and what was not. She was dying. That was real. The glow beneath her chest was a pale thread of light, fraying at the edges. Her hands were clasped in her lap with great care, the way you hold your hands when you are trying very hard not to show that they are shaking. He knelt beside her. He reached out slowly, the way you move toward something that might still startle, and touched 2 fingers to her jaw, lifting her face gently so he could see the damage, wound along her hairline, sealed by some Vael mechanism he didn't understand, but old enough to have drained her badly. Her eyes opened again as he touched her, and this time they did not close. They stayed on his face with that silver intensity, reading him, cataloging him, trying to understand the equation that had produced this specific impossible outcome. "You're injured," he said. His voice came out rougher than he intended. She said nothing. The Vael could speak the common tongue, he knew that, but she said nothing, and he could not tell if it was because she couldn't or because she was still deciding whether this was real. He opened his field kit. He worked slowly, methodically, keeping his movements visible, keeping nothing sudden. He found what he needed: the trauma compress, the stabilizer gel, the emergency nutrient pack that tasted like plastic and kept human soldiers alive when there was nothing else. He did not know if it would work for her biology. He did not know very much about Vael physiology at all. But the compress stopped bleeding and the gel sealed, and the light beneath her chest, when he pressed the nutrient pack gently into her folded hands, brightened just slightly, just the smallest degree, like a lamp when the power flickers back. She looked at her hands. She looked at him.
"Why?" she said.
One word. Her voice was low and precise, and carried the strange harmonic undertone that all Vael voices carried, as if two people were speaking the same sentence one breath apart. Dane sat back on his heels and looked at the dead forest and the pale sky above it and thought about that. "Because you closed your eyes," he said finally. "You were certain I'd kill you. And you still chose not to fight." He met her silver gaze. "Something that brave deserves a chance." The light in her chest burned steady and full for one long, silent moment, and somewhere beyond the edge of Vareth IX's dead atmosphere, 16 Vael warships changed course because their queen had sent a single signal outward through the dark. "Wait."